Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Shaw, the president of the Jack Graney chapter in Cleveland, and I'm privileged to have been asked by Scott Bush to be the moderator for tonight's session, our opportunity to hear from the five very talented individuals who've come forward and said that they would like to be considered for positions on the SABR Board of Directors. I think we all would share the idea how important this selection will be to become members of the board, to help working with and supporting the two Scotts as they move our organization forward in this very upward trajectory that we're privileged and pleasured to be in. So very simply tonight, my role as moderator is twofold. One, we will bring the candidates in one at a time and ask them a question, and we'll do it in a rotational order, an introductory question, and then three other questions developed by the SABR front office in advance of this meeting. And they'll have 2 minutes and 30 seconds and not a second more to answer the questions. And we are privileged to have a great timekeeper tonight. Our SABR CEO, Mr. Bush, is going to provide that role, and you will see a clock come up in the upper left-hand corner of your thing. So my role set is twofold. One, to briefly introduce by name the candidates and ask them the questions. And then two, to keep the trains running on time so we have a very efficient and effective meeting. I think something that does need to be acknowledged here is this is an asynchronous meeting. We will all be in the position of listening to the candidates, but there will not be an opportunity to ask them questions. But I think this will give us an opportunity to become much more informed before we cast our very important votes. So with that in mind, could we bring our first candidate in for this first introduction round? And I think we ought to see a gentleman who I know well, Mr. Bruce McClure. Bruce, welcome tonight. It's good to see you. My friend, this first question is kind of the softball question right down the middle. Who is Bruce McClure? What would you like people to know about and take away from tonight who Bruce McClure is? And the second part of the question is, why do you want to serve on the SABR Board of Directors? Hopefully a pretty straightforward two-part question. And you are muted, my friend. You need to unmute yourself. Okay, Bruce is having trouble unmuting.
There we go. It said the host was not allowing me to do it. There we go.
Well,
all right.
Again, does the question make sense to you, sir?
Question makes perfect sense to me, Joe. Thank you very much.
The baseball microphone over to you, and your 2 minute and 30-second clock is about to start.
Well, I am Bruce McClure. I am the chair of the Clyde Sukeforth chapter of SABR. I started this chapter a couple of years ago with really no baseball infrastructure. And what we've done is we've created a community up here in New Hampshire and Maine of baseball fans who want to learn more and want to make those connections in the baseball world. I've been an interior decorator now for almost 23 years. That's hard to believe. And had a lot of experience running Macy's and Bloomingdale's in New York City, where I created a lot of community amongst associates and management there. That was a lot of transient that was in and out. So they weren't making those connections until I started bringing them in and bringing stores together more closely. I'd like to apply that that experience to SABR, because building community is what I'm all about. And in the years that we've had this chapter, we've expanded from having maybe 10, 15, 20 people per session to now 45 or 50 people that come in from all across the country and even in Canada. And I believe that my talents and my experience and the things that I do here translate well nationally to where I can be an effective board member, make a better baseball community, and make a more inclusive SABR community.
Okay. You still got some more time if you would like to add to that. If not, we will thank you. Your
Thank
call,
you.
my friend.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, you beat the clock with a lot to spare. All right, we will send you back to the. I believe we're going to let you stay now, as we will let the others stay after they've given their introductory remarks. But you will be on, as the others will be on mute mode, Bruce. Okay. So, Scott, just a comment for you. I'm not seeing the clock. And Bruce, did you see the clock? Okay. Tyrone, you don't see the clock yet? Okay. Well, let us move ahead here. Excuse me. Our second person, and I'm getting ahead of myself, is Mr. Milbert Brown. And we've not had the pleasure to meet, but Milbert, welcome to tonight. Our introductory question for you is twofold. We'd like you to share with us a biographical sketch of yourself. What would you like us to take away from tonight about who you are? And the second part is, why do you want to serve on the SABR Board of Directors?
Well, my background, can you hear me? Does it
We
start,
can
have
hear
the
you.
clocks? Okay.
Uh, Scott, we're not seeing the clock.
Yeah, I see the clock now.
Do you see it?
Yes,
Okay, good. You see it. That's most important. Okay.
right. Are we ready?
Yes, go right ahead, my
Okay,
friend.
okay, all right. My background is that it's always been in journalism. From the seventh grade, I was made the classroom reporter. Not the seventh grade, but 7 years old, the second grade. And I got that title because I was a shy kid. I just transferred from another school. And I was so excited that I was made the classroom report. I ran home and told my mother that I wanted to go to college and become a reporter. Certainly, I did become a reporter. Uh, I attended Ball State University, majored in journalism, later to graduate school, and later doctoral studies. But my passion has always been in baseball. Uh, I was a high school baseball player, but I was more so a football player, and that was my better and favorite sport. So I ended up going to college and playing a little football before I got hurt. My background has been I worked for a lot of different newspapers, minor league newspapers, and also worked for a lot of major league newspapers. Every time I went to a major league place, I bought a new baseball hat. When I went to the Boston Globe, I bought a Red Sox hat. When I went to the Chicago Tribune, I bought a Chicago Cubs hat. I am a Chicago Cubs fan, believe it or not, win or lose, and we mostly lose. And I'm always waiting until next year. Um, I guess one thing that you can say about me is that I'm looking to join the team because I can really give a new aspect of incitement to the board because of my background in leadership, education, and journalism. And we need to change the baton of leadership. So often, the same people serve, and that becomes stale, and your leadership is never grows and it never advances because the same people are still in the same positions and they have a kingship with other people. I would be more or less outsider. That's it.
That is it, my friend. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Right.
Appreciated you sharing your thoughts and background with us. Thank you. All right. Our next individual tonight is Mr. Tyrone Brooks. And Milbert, as Scott said in the early, you'll stay with us on mute to hear the rest of this introductory session. Okay, Tyrone, are you with us tonight? I'm not. Oh, here he is. All right. Tyrone, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Glad to be here.
It's nice to have you. Well, my friend, for the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds max, we'd like to ask you to tell us what would you like us to know and take away from tonight about who is Tyrone Brooks and why do you want to be on the SABR Board of Directors?
No, appreciate it, Joe.
Make sense?
No.
I'll
Yep.
turn the microphone over to you and the clock will start, my friend.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, again, my name is Tyrone Brooks. I've had the great pleasure of being on this board. This is my second time currently. Originally back in 2019 to 2021, and then now the last year plus being on the board. But again, I've my background. This is my 30th year working within professional baseball. I've also been a SABR member for the last 12 plus years. For what I've been involved with SABR, one, it's such a great community. And I initially was introduced to SABR initially through the analytics program, analytics conference. And from that, I realized there was so much more that was there and part of SABR. Just the community. I remember my very first time getting a chance to go to one of the conventions, which was in Pittsburgh years ago. And that's when I kind of at that point realized this is just such a great community. Me and the work I do presently, I work for Major League Baseball, which I've done this is my 10th year with them. Part of what I try to do is help invigorate and bring new younger audiences, giving them exposure to what SABR is all about. And as part of that, I've had the great pleasure of working hand in hand with SABR and doing that, and just trying to provide an outlet for individuals to realize what this game of baseball has to offer and just the love of it. So, and SABR provides that with so much that's out there for anyone, no matter what your background may be. There's a place for you in SABR, and that's why I love being able to give people exposure to understanding what SABR is all about, and whether you're into the history of it or if you're more in related to the analytics understanding and that side of it. There's so much that's out there in play for anyone that wants to learn and be a part of community one that is just very much a giving and a place where you can learn from so many others as part of that. So I've enjoyed during my time working with Scott Bush and the rest of the board and helping to make sure we can get invigorate the audience that we have as SABR, and also just continue to expand and grow the membership as a whole. And I feel like I've had a great part in doing that. So just really excited to want to continue to do that and be part of this great organization as we move forward.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, our next individual will be Mr. Bill Perch. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening.
So, for our introductory question, we would like you in the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds or less to share with us what we should know about who is Bill Perch, a little bit of a biographical sketch if you wish, and second part would be why you want to serve on the SABR Board of Directors.
Wonderful. Good evening. I'm Bill Perch, and I joined SABR in 2016 after the Cubs won the World Series. You may remember the wave of articles and statistics and 108 years of memories that followed that 7-game series. Even if you weren't a fan of either team, you felt a connection. And I use that as an opportunity to take advantage of what remains a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to connect with other passionate baseball fans. While there were volumes of articles written in the wake of that World Series, what I discovered were two powerful things about SABR. And those two things are what inspired me to run for the board. First, how vibrant local chapters bring baseball fans together. And second, how SABR's depth of available research allows its members to tell the game's full story beyond just the major moments And I like to call those baseball's hidden histories. As of this afternoon, Baseball Reference identified 23,412 major league players, not to mention Negro leagues, minor leagues, and more. I've enjoyed telling the story of players who've only played a handful of games, yet had the opportunity to shake the hand of a king. I told the story of an Illinois gubernatorial candidate who invited Ty Cobb to town, small town America, to play a game. I've even managed to fit an article about the Chicago Cubs into a book about the Chicago White Sox. Connecting with SABR members has allowed me to find countless ways to tell the story of the game that we love. I'm running for SABR's board to create a strong connection between its members and chapters, between chapters and other chapters, and SABR's board of directors and staff with its members. These connections allow us to tell baseball's complete history. I've revitalized the Chicago chapter, created the Central Illinois chapter, have been on awards committees, served as publicizing SABR publications, and this has all made my connection to baseball stronger. I want members to connect with the benefits of SABR.
Thank you, Bill. And our last candidate will be Mr. Bill Nolan. Bill, welcome. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
Bill, in the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds, if you would please be so kind as to provide us a brief biographical sketch of yourself, what you'd like us to know about you, and why do you want to have a chair on the SABR Board of Directors? Why would you like to be a member of the SABR Board?
Thanks. It was kind of awkward sitting in a waiting room for 20 minutes with nobody around, not a single picture of another SABR member, just no one. It's sort of the opposite of what I've really enjoyed so much.
Scott, did we lose Bill?
I think we did. He was, at least on my end, his video
Yes.
feed was frozen as soon as he started, and then he disappeared. So hopefully he's able to return quickly.
Can you hear me and see me, Joe?
Yes, I can, Bill. You're back with us.
No idea what went wrong. I got a notice all of a sudden saying that there was some problem that popped up on my screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Scott, for calling.
So we restart.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
It's very awkward sitting in a waiting room all by myself there for so many minutes. Just wondering what was going on, and I was reflecting how SABR to me has always been camaraderie, sharing ideas, being inspired by each other, coming up with thoughts that we never came up with before. It's just been a community that sometimes baseball's not the national pastime it once was, and sometimes I think we value very highly the love that we each have for the game. We've got a wonderful group of candidates here. I think any one of us that joins the board, it will be a nice addition to the board. Myself, I don't know. I bring some experience. I've been on the board for a long time. I've served on some of the different committees, like the audit committee or the local grants committee. I helped transcribe over 1,000 of the questionnaires for the Weiss transcription project. I don't mind digging in and doing some of the grunt work. That was a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed the conventions we've had, the successful local meetings that we've had, or I happen to live in an area where there are 5 or 6 chapters nearby, and so I'll often go to Western Massachusetts or Southern New England, wherever. We're trying to revive the Boston chapter now, and I think we're hopefully May 10th, we're going to start on a new path there. I've really enjoyed working on SABR publications. Some of you may have noticed that. We had an editorial board meeting earlier this week and approved 4 new books that are going to be coming out, probably mostly in 2026. A book on Australian baseball, a book on the Irish diaspora, a book on Jimmy Fox, and a book on music and baseball. And that one, of course, because of my own personal background, more than 50 years in the music business, that one inspires me. But one of the keys to SABR research and these publications is to involve as many people as possible. So we will want to have a full array of contributors to the books. And I like it when we can bring in new people that haven't been involved before and prevent any one person from taking over too much of the writing and so forth. I look forward to maybe seeing this when it's rerun later on and seeing what other folks have to say.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. All right, well, if we move along, we'll let the 5 candidates go back to the waiting room and we'll move on to question number 1. And our first person is Mr. Tyrone Brooks. And very specifically, could you please describe your personal network and professional connections and how you can build a bridge between them and SABR for mutual benefit?
Sure, and I'm glad to answer that question. For me, I've always been a connector, someone that brings people together. And throughout my entire career in professional baseball, that's been a huge element of the last 10 years. I've had a chance to specifically work within bringing younger audiences to SABR and getting them connected to SABR. So that is an area where I truly can be an asset with the work that we've been doing. Over the past 9 years, working in partnership with SABR, we've been able to sponsor over 900 individuals that have received access to the SABR Analytics Conference. And that for many is just the very start of their participation and also understanding what SABR is all about. So it's been a great way to really start to reel somebody in so they can see what a great community that SABR truly is. I also have a network on LinkedIn that is called the Baseball Industry Network that I started back in 2009, and we have over 47,000 members. That's another great network that we can potentially tap into as well, and we have done in the past, but a great way to connect people to SABR so they can see truly what a great organization SABR is and how, in addition to the history and understanding about the game, there's so much that's there to offer someone. One, getting exposure to the convention, but also just getting a chance to connect with people. And that's what the whole part of SABR is about. It's about a great community, one that have an interest and love for the game of baseball. And there's so many that I feel like with my role with potentially on the board and also with my work with Major League Baseball and also with the network that I do have, that's a huge area that we can bring in and continue to bring new audiences to SABR so they can fully understand what a great organization SABR truly is. And without that, definitely it's all about people. And that's a great thing about our game of baseball. You can, no matter where you're from, your background, there's a place for you in SABR. And that's something which makes it truly, truly special.
All right. Thank you, Tyrone, very much. All right. Our next person will be Mr. Bruce McClure. Well, Bruce, for your first, shall we say, real question of the night, 2 minutes and 30 seconds again. Mm-hmm. Could you please describe your personal network and professional connections and how you can build a bridge between them and SABR for mutual benefit?
Okay. So my personal network is outside of the baseball industry. I'm an interior decorator by trade. However, I'm also one who makes connections on a daily basis inside my office and outside my office. I'm well versed in speaking with people, getting people onto my side, for lack of a better term, establishing a rapport, and building that conversation to open up the talk about baseball and SABR. I have been very successful as I've been chatting with clients in my store, when they mention baseball or they see something on my desk, one of my bobbleheads or something like that, and begin the discussion of SABR. And I've had people who have been curious enough to attend meetings with our chapter. I've been able to establish connections here in New Hampshire with the NECBL, with the AA Eastern League in Manchester, in an effort to be able to reach out to the community through those venues 5 times this summer. I've established connections with the field manager of the New Hampshire Fisher Cats in an effort to draw some of them in to help us recruit on those nights. And I'm well-versed in making groups, making connections, doing the things that I need to do to establish the conversations. I'm outside of the baseball network, and I know that, but my experience for the past 30 years in interior decoration, in teaching, it's all able to help me in what we do here.
All right. Thank you very much, Bruce. We'll move on then to our next candidate, Mr. Bill Perch. Bill, the first question of the evening. Please describe your personal network and professional connections and how you can build a bridge between them and SABR for mutual benefit.
Sure. I work professionally. I work as a marketing manager in the civil engineering world. And I started off my career working in the nonprofit sector with park districts primarily and philanthropy organizations. And my network throughout the years has grown to include a number of connections in the not-for-profit world, and very specifically with historical societies. And I feel like that has been the most significant connection that I can bring to SABR. I've been looking for opportunities for SABR to partner with these particular organizations because I've always stressed that strong local chapters is what makes SABR powerful and how we can grow membership. And I think the opportunity of the connections that I have by reaching out to that particular portion of historical societies is that we really get to build a bridge between our members and each local chapter. And it's an opportunity for SABR to share its depth of available research that I mentioned in my opening with local communities, whether or not they are large urban markets or very small towns, because I've worked with both. And I think that's a case of where I can probably most directly jump in and work with other members to build those connections and help tell a far more grand story with SABR. Because the one takeaway that I've always found is that baseball is a rich game. It's a diverse game, and it's been played international. It's been in major cities, and then it's been played in small towns. And I think through historical societies, we're able to share our knowledge as well as work with individuals on the historical society side for them to learn more about their particular communities. And I think it's a mutual partnership, and not just historical societies, but with local museums. Again, with baseball being such a diverse game, there's a lot of voices out there that we need to connect with to help share the overall story of baseball. And I think that's how SABR would fit in and how I can take my network and fit in immediately.
Very good. Thank you very much, Bill. We'll move on to our next candidate, Mr. Bill Nolan. Welcome again, Bill. First question, could you please describe your personal network and professional connections and how you can build a bridge between them and SABR for mutual benefit?
My personal network is mostly SABR at this point. I've been an active member for more than 20 years, and most of the time I spend working on different projects, trying to help folks out with research ideas, maybe connect them with a ball player that I might be able to have somebody that could help them contact. I was working on that earlier today. just sharing the love of the game. I see even somebody on this talk is wearing a Yankees cap of all things. For me, that would be a little bit surprising, but the love of the game embraces everyone, and I really have enjoyed meeting people from all over. I was in the music business. I made a lot of contacts there. I developed a lot of understanding of the way of interacting with people, but having seen the names of some of the people that are on this call, I recognize most folks, people that I've met at one time or another at a SABR meeting or SABR convention, and have really enjoyed getting to know people from various.
I think we lost him again, Scott.
Yeah, we did. So with about 1:10 on the timer, so why don't we bring in Milbert?
Yep. Okay.
Because he's next to answer.
Mhm.
And then while Milbert gets going, I will endeavor to reach Bill
Okay.
and talk to him about wrapping up with about, a minute or so to go.
Okay. Sounds like a plan we can work with. Welcome again, Milbert.
Let me unmute myself. Okay.
You're unmuted.
Okay.
The first question for you for the evening. Could you please describe your personal network and professional connections and how you can build a bridge between them and SABR for mutual benefit?
Okay. My personal network is that I'm currently a board member of the Sims Museum of Negro League Baseball. Now, that is a museum that highlights Negro League Baseball. It's a smaller museum. It's not as large as the one in Kansas City. I believe that when Major League Baseball brought in the stats of Negro League players, it was a major accomplishment for those players and for the world and for baseball. I'm very much connected with the group. Actually, I had a lecture yesterday at the library in which was 150 people, and I spoke about Negro League Baseball and how Negro League Baseball is not just a Black history, it's also American history. I would basically be able to bring a more diverse crowd, because SABR, for me, going to the meetings and going to the national convention, it's not as diversified as it needs to be. When we look at what Major League Baseball did, we need to be more diversified. We need to have a little bit more inclusion in terms of women. I looked at the roster for the SABR's national lectures, and I don't know all the programs, but it's very few. I didn't see any women. I didn't see many minorities, and I think there needs to be a point in which SABR brings in. It shouldn't be a separate but equal organization. That means the Negro League and the Women's Conference should be integrated into SABR's network and workshops, and not be separate, because it extends. When we do that, we bring more members in, more members with diversified ideas and strategies. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Milbert.
Yeah.
Scott, shall we cycle back and let Bill have his last 8 seconds?
Yeah, we'll let Bill in to conclude his response, since he lost his connection here. All right, so Bill, we've got 1:08 left in your time, if you are comfortable with that.
I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I'm a veteran Zoom participant. I've hosted many Zoom meetings. I don't know what I've said and what I haven't said that's been captured because my screen freezes up. I got a message asking me a question, and then a message came on that said waiting room messages do not support reactions or replies. So I have no idea what's been said or hasn't been said. I hope I've done a good job working with SABR. I've really enjoyed the experience, and I'd love to be able to continue it for another term. Having said that, no idea if anybody heard me.
Would
I
you
heard
like me? Yeah. Would you like me to repeat the first question? You still have a little bit of time left. I'd be happy to do that.
I don't know what I've said or what I haven't said.
Okay.
What's the first question?
Okay. The question that you were answering was, please describe your personal network and professional connections and how you can build a bridge between them and SABR for mutual benefit.
That's the first question?
That was the question you were answering when you left us.
Okay, how far did I get in it?
About a minute and 20 seconds.
I have no idea. I probably don't have anything more to say because I don't know what I did say. I don't know what was conveyed or what wasn't.
Okay. All right.
This I like the idea of this being able to interact with folks and them to see the candidates, but something technological is a problem here despite my having hosted a dozen Zoom meetings myself. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, everybody.
Okay. All right. If you're comfortable leaving it there, Scott, shall we move on?
Sure. I mean, because if I say something now, I don't know if it's going to be captured or not.
Yeah.
Might as well.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Understand. Okay. All right. Well, that completes question number 1. And we'll move on to question number 2 with Milbert Brown being our first individual. Milbert. Here's question number 2. Membership growth will always be important to SABR. What are some of the ideas you have about how SABR can acquire more members?
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go. First of all, I think that one aspect of acquiring more members is to, again, I speak again in reference to the national conventions. The national conventions could do a couple things. One, they can highlight regional and also chapters, like a chapter of the year program or chapter of the year, in which you bring people in, have them to talk about their chapter, workshops that features, the select winning chapters or the select 3 best chapters in all of SABR. And also, as I said before, there needs to be a concerted effort in bringing in other groups that are underrepresented, like the part of SABR, of course, but it should not be. There should not be a Negro League conference and somewhere else in another city, and we have a major national convention. You have some of the same members, but I believe you have, if you want to grow your organization, you're going to have to do things differently. You're going to have a new strategic plan. It cannot be the same strategic plan as the members that's in SABR right now are getting older. You also need to bring more youth involved. It's a problem whenever you have a scholarship and you said you're going to award these people a scholarship and bring them in and have all expense paid. And then when we look at the Negro League scholarships, only thing is mentioned is that they'll get a scholarship. It has to be fairness all around in terms of every particular segment of SABR. That is the only way that you're going to grow the membership. The membership growth is vitally important in terms of the viability and the growth of SABR. We have to start bringing in people with different ideas and not the same ideas.
Thank you very much, Milbert. We'll move to our next individual, Mr. Bill Nolan.
So, Joe, we've lost Bill again. So,
Okay, cycle on.
We will go to the next.
Okay,
next
then we'll
order
move
here.
on to Tyrone Brooks. Welcome back, Tyrone.
Thank you.
All right. Our second question for you for the evening. Membership growth will always be important to SABR. What are some ideas you have about how SABR can acquire more members?
No, it's great. As far as adding new members, I mean, I think a big part is especially there's a lot of young people that are curious about baseball. And what even some of the stuff I've been able to do with SABR over the last 9 years has helped invigorate some of that. You know, we've again been a part of giving over 900 people, including over 360 individuals, access to the SABR Analytics Conference this past year. And that's been a great way just to start that process to get people in the door. And from there, then it's now, how do we now take them from, understanding what the analytics conference is, but also understanding there's a lot more that's there as part of SABR. So that right there, as far as being able to, there's a lot of individuals that are out there, especially using social media. LinkedIn obviously is a great resource, and SABR does use that as a way to publicize what's going on. I've also been heavily involved in our SABR Scholars program with SABR as well, being able to talk to individuals, let them know further about what SABR is all about. But getting access to this younger audience is definitely helpful. But also there's, especially now with some of the additional resources that we do have, adding Paul to the staff is also a great way. Also, there's a lot of things that we can do and continue to do just externally, connecting with different other historical societies that are interested. There could be some definite connections there. I've also talked to Scott Bush about him and Paul as well about the ABCA, the American Baseball Coaches Association, which actually has been around for some time now, and they have 10,000 members in there. So there's a lot of individuals there. Also, I think could see some of the offerings that SABR has that would also be something that would want them to want to be a part of SABR and see that, with the analytics side or just further learning. There's a lot of people that are interested just in the history of our game. And that's where that can be a great resource as a way to connect with more people to get them involved. There's within that realm, again, with either some of the younger audiences, but also just those that are in the coaching society, coaching area. That's just a great way for folks that can naturally see a great fit, especially with some of the offerings that we do have with the analytics conference and also the Rapsodo certification as well. So that is one element of that.
All right. Thank you very much, Darren. Scott, I don't see Bill. Shall we move on to Bruce?
We should.
Okay. Our next person will be Mr. Bruce McClure. Our second question for you for the evening. Membership growth will always be important to SABR. What are some ideas you have about how SABR can acquire more members?
My ideas have always been based on connection. We need to connect with the fans where they are. We need to find a way to get in touch with teams that are local to our areas. My area, we have the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. We have several NECBL teams. Many of these clubs I have forged connections with to be able to begin outreach with them throughout this coming summer. We need to forge connections with students. One of the ideas that I've had over the years is to go to universities who have sports programs in analytics or in management or whatever it might be, and offer these students memberships in SABR and show them how our organization can be of benefit to them. We need to connect with local fans who may not go to a game, who might be local to us in the area, by having programs with research-based presentations at, say, libraries or churches or things like that, in an effort to show them that our organization exists and just how we can help enhance their baseball fandom. I believe that we should be connecting with families to maybe provide as chapters some programming for children if we possibly can, in an effort to get them to learn a little bit more about the game and grow their fandom as well. It's all about connecting and showing folks that SABR is not just a mathematically based organization or a research organization, even though that's in our name. We need to be able to show them that baseball fans, content consumers, content creators, all sorts of people join us to enhance their enjoyment of the sport.
All right. Thank you very much, Bruce. Our last individual for this question will be Mr. Bill Perch. Bill, welcome back.
Yep.
Okay. Our second question for you for this evening. Membership growth will always be important to SABR. What are some ideas you have about how SABR can acquire more members?
As I've mentioned, SABR's strong local chapters is really what inspires members to join. And what I've tried to focus on is building networks between the various chapters. And what I've found is that we really have more of an opportunity with our members to actually work collaboratively, to host more joint meetings between chapters at various locations. So I think through word of mouth and through joint programming, I think we'll be able to attract a lot of members. But as I mentioned in my candidate statement, that I think we really have the opportunity to look at partnerships with other organizations. And I've just specifically looked I mentioned in my candidate statement, just looking in the Chicagoland area, as I've mentioned before, partnering with museums, academic institutions, and historical societies. And I think building those connections will continue to benefit SABR and its membership. But I think we can also capitalize on some existing programs as well. And I think one of them that is an absolute home run, which was implemented a few years ago, is SABR's analytics certification. I think that's an opportunity where we can truly embrace a component of SABR that the organization is extremely known for on the analytics side. And I think the opportunity we have there is really partner with or reach out to the individuals who have gone through that program and receive that SABR seal of approval for individuals that are looking to move into baseball or sports in general that would need that analytics background as a way to break into the industry that they're looking for. So I think there are a number of opportunities through partnerships with organizations, because we really have to understand that SABR is extremely diverse. And no matter how you enjoy baseball, there's an opportunity for you to join the organization. And I think those were just a few of the examples that I think would be beneficial to grow membership.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Scott, a little check here. It looks like we're still having trouble getting Bill back. Shall we move on to question number 3? Okay. All right, we will move on to question number 3, and hopefully we see Bill back with us. So, Bill Perch, you're still on for the first person for question number 3.
Sounds great.
Okay. SABR recently hired an external relations officer tasked with identifying organizations that share SABR's values and mission. What organization would you like SABR to work with more closely, and why?
Sure. And I think adding that position is absolutely vital for SABR. And we actually had a chance to speak. And the types of organizations that I've mentioned, museums, colleges, universities, academic institutions, and historical societies, those are the best opportunities to make connections, which grow membership, which gives us, SABR as an organization, an opportunity to share the information, the research. As we know, SABR has volumes of research through the bio project, through the games projects, through its publication program, that our members have spent countless hours telling fantastic stories. And I think relationships with organizations like those, institutions like those, are really the best opportunity that will benefit SABR. I think it gives us the opportunity, as I mentioned before, a way to highlight what we're doing to get our message out to individuals and benefit those organizations as well. I think it's one of those opportunities through a position like that, working with each of the those local chapters, the strong chapters and committees, that we have an opportunity to work together to build those partnerships, because I think that is really one of the most advantageous opportunities for SABR to take into account. It would be a case of getting to know all of the individual players at the different chapters at the local level, and to really figure out what are the communities, what are the institutions that we can work for. And again, it would help along the lines of growing membership, as well as simply passing along the volumes of information that SABR has compiled.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Our next individual will be Mr. Milbert Brown. Milbert, welcome back.
Okay.
Our third and last question for the evening. SABR recently hired an external relations officer tasked with identifying organizations that share SABR's values and mission. What organization would you like SABR to work with more closely, and why?
Yeah, I would like for SABR to work more closely with organizations that represent where the members are, and those organizations, and of course we those are the regional clubs, or not the regional clubs, but the chapters. I'm affiliated with the chapter in Baltimore, and it's a great chapter. It's meets at Babe Ruth's Museum. I would like to see them really work more closely with the chapters, not one specific organization. I think the community engagement is very important, but community engagement may not work in Dallas. It may work better in Nashville. I think we have to look at the organizational efficiency of SABR. I think we have to look at long-term sustainability. The guiding principles really is the mission, is the mission aligned with what we want to do. Community engagement is always quite important. I think also that we have to be able to, as members, sit down with one another and share our thoughts. As a college professor, and a historical researcher, my mission and my insight about SABR is very passionate. When I was younger, I used to sit back and listen to the radio, the St. Louis Cardinals, with my grandfather. I'm originally from the Chicago area, but my grandfather lived in St. Louis. And I still really very much connected with the radio. I like to listen to games on the radio. Also, it's a cap in which I wear. Often, it was the last gift my father gave me before he died. It was Minnesota Minnesota Twins hat. And lastly, always like to see the flag of the W. That's the Cubs.
Thank you very much,
All
Milbert.
right.
All right. Our next individual will be Mr. Tyrone Brooks. Tyrone, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. The third and final question for you this evening. SABR recently hired an external relations officer tasked with identifying organizations that share SABR's values and mission. What organization would you like SABR to work with more closely and why?
No, good, really good question. Just to start with, adding Paul, I think is huge for the organization itself and the work he's going to have a chance to do. I've actually been a part of the American Baseball Coaches Association for quite some time now. I actually serve on the Diversity in Baseball Committee for the ABCA, and with having a resource of potentially over 10,000 members, this provides a great opportunity for us to connect with an organization that truly values the same things that we do here at SABR, understanding individuality and diversity of thought. There's baseball coaches that are going to see a lot of offerings that we have at SABR, especially with the analytics conference, analytics certification program. That will definitely be something of interest too. But there's also a lot of individuals that have been a part of the ABCA for many, many years that also understand and love the history of our game and are also fans. And many of the individuals that are part of the association, there's many that are also high school coaches in a lot of different markets all over the country. And I've been able to witness for many, many years now, going to their convention every year, which most recently was held in the DC area, and just seeing people that come from all over that just have such a love for the game. And that opportunity to congregate together, connecting with people, I can see many of them enjoying that opportunity to do that with SABR, especially at our national convention, but also just the other resources that are there for individuals that are interested in the research side of our sport, in addition to those that are, especially now with all the technology and analytics that's out there, that we can provide with the conference as well. And providing and adding something to their skill set and to their toolbox to help them going forward. I'm part of the work I've been doing with the ABCA has been helping from a professional development standpoint and putting individuals into a better opportunity to make a better joining with their career, moving it forward. And I think having connection with SABR would definitely provide that and give them something else that they can truly add to their skill set, to their resume, and also to add to their experience in general.
Okay, thank you, Tyrone. Our next person back will be Mr. Bruce McClure. Welcome back, Bruce.
Thank you.
All right, the third and final question for you this evening. SABR recently hired an external relations officer tasked with identifying organizations that share SABR's values and mission. What organization would you like SABR to work with more closely and why?
I think the answer to that is twofold. And the first half of the answer is SABR needs to reach out to some of the regional fan clubs that are around the country and offer a partnership with them. The Boston Braves Historical Society, the New York Giants Preservation Society, the Atlanta Braves fan club that I just was in touch with over the past couple of days. There are numerous, the World Series Club in Connecticut, that's another one. There are so many regional baseball clubs, and they don't necessarily have a connection to SABR. Now, there is some overlap, of course, but there's a lot of members that could possibly be brought into our fold as well by forging these partnerships. Now, in looking at the fan clubs, we also look at some of the professional organizations that are in our community today. And I like to focus on museums because it's easy to possibly come up with some sort of a display at a counter in some of our smaller museums around the country. the Yogi Berra Museum, the Joe Jackson Museum, that baseball park museum in Colorado that, in my opinion, could really use our help right now because they're in a financial bind. Even the National Baseball Hall of Fame, there are so many spots where baseball can be enjoyed without going to the ballpark, and we should be at a majority of them to work with them to expand our membership and expand our membership's enjoyment of those venues as well. When we go back to the fan clubs, if we are working with these fan clubs to offer them presenters, speakers, work together, things like that, I believe that both the fan club is going to win and we're going to win. Partnerships, connect. We need to go where the fans are. We've expected them to come to us through our website and word of mouth for years now. We can't do that anymore.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruce. Scott, I need to bring you back into this conversation about Bill. We've completed the 3 questions with everybody save Bill. It doesn't look like he has been able to get back with us tonight.
That's right. At this stage, I'm not expecting Bill to return based on an email I received. So I believe this is the conclusion of the forum.
Okay. I think we should thank all of our candidates for opening up and sharing with us, and thanks to all the people who came and listened tonight, and hopefully take away a lot of good information leading to good voting. So shall we call it an evening, Scott?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks to all of our candidates. Thanks for everyone who joined us tonight and is watching this at a later date. Appreciate all of you.